I'm a stubborn girl in a predictable world.
Hello, darlings. Come in. What if I what if I did that? Okay, no, sorry. Hey, welcome. I'm Ananda. And today I'm feeling reactive and a little silly apparently. But I am having my own little personal in my feelings challenge because of some of the comments being posted on my Fig video in response to me saying this. I had to kill a raccoon with a hammer in defense of one of my dogs about. Yeah. Now, I get it. It sounds awful, and it was awful. But really? You gonna call me a murderer? Call me all out of my name? You don't even know me. Oh, and I hate this R word. It turns me into the lady from Get Out. No, 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 no. Don't say that. There's debate going on in terms of whether or not what I did was necessary. Many don't agree. It's okay, we can agree to disagree. But what we're not gonna do is pretend like you can assume you know a story you don't know. So what I'm gonna do today is set the record straight, or at least give you some understanding as to how I came to the moment of having to beat a raccoon to death with a hammer. Because it did happen, but there's a reason why it happened. I was left no choice. The point is basically to clear my name and defend myself against you accusers. I am definitely not the only person that has had raccoon run-ins and issues recently. I heard Cardi B talking about it on her Instagram. What's up, Cardi? I love me some Cardi B. I'm not even ashamed. Some people who are grown, they're like, that's for the kids. Girl, Cardi B is for everybody. Oh, anyway, I was looking at her IG page and she was talking about how there are raccoons all over the Bronx. I'm like, what? Let me be clear. I am not about violence against animals. This was a horrible thing that happened. I hope to never experience anything like it again. But this still happens. True story. So basically I'm biased, but I had the best two pit bulls ever born into the world. My fur babies, Java, my little girl, I'd had her since she was 8 weeks old, and Andy, my boy, who I'd had since he was 9 years old. They were such a beautiful couple, you guys. They woke up every morning like kissing. Java was so in love with him. And I think Andy was just so happy to have a really comfy home where he could lay in bed all day if he wanted to, getting kisses from this beautiful little girl. And for as much strength as he clearly had, I mean, look at him, he was such a gentle giant, which makes it even more heartbreaking to know that he was used as a bait dog in a dog fighting ring, which means basically he was beat up on by the other dogs in the earlier part of his life. As a bait dog, they had filed his teeth down, and it looked to me like they removed some of them too. So while Andy was this badass protector on one hand, on the other hand, he also couldn't do much damage in a real fight. That's just a little backstory. So my two pit bulls and I were at my mom's house one morning, and I let them out to go to the bathroom, as you do every morning, and all of a sudden I hear a panic scream coming from Java. You dog owners know what I'm talking about. You know what your dog sounds like when they're in a panic, when something is wrong. That's what I heard. So I run into the backyard to see what is going on, and I see Java trying to climb up this little like wall to this other area of basically bushes. I see the bushes right there just moving, and it is clear there's a struggle going on. And I already know Andy is involved. In front of these plants, there's this chicken wire. So this chicken wire is holding back the plants. All of a sudden, Andy pushes through the plants to the chicken wire, and the chicken wire gives way. And it makes this like hammock. And Andy has pushed through, and underneath him is a big ass raccoon. A big one. And now there's Andy on top of a big ass raccoon in a chicken wire hammock. Now, ordinarily with the 80-pound pit, you really don't have to worry about whatever little animal he gets in a fight with. But remember, Andy has no teeth. They were filed down and pulled. So Andy has the weight, and he's holding the raccoon down. But the raccoon has the claws and the teeth, and he is tearing up Andy's face. He's like, he probably wasn't making that noise, but in my memory he was. Now let me just back up real quick. When we're on our way to San Diego, I hear this report that this woman, an older woman, was in her backyard trying to shoo some raccoons out, and she trips and falls somehow, I don't know. The raccoons attacked her, and the article said they filleted her. Filleted? They filleted her like a fish fillet? All this is running through my head as I watch this raccoon tearing up Andy. And I'm like, this raccoon is not about to fillet my dog, okay? I'm trying to figure out a way, like, can I grab the raccoon? And I'm thinking, this sucker gonna claw my arms, bite me, he might have rabies. That's not happening. I can't even get over the little chicken wire hammock. I was trying to just stop the fight quickly. My mom is inside the house still at this point, and I yelled at her, Mommy, give me a weapon. This raccoon's trying to kill my dog. And she runs out and hands me this hammer. What am I supposed to do with that? What am I supposed to do with that? I had a little bitty baby hammer. And I think the handle was bent. That's what she had. That's what she could grab. Thank you, Mommy. But you do what you can do with what you have, right? So I have this little hammer, and I just start hitting him, y'all. I just start beating him. I'm like, through the chicken wire, because the raccoon's head was kind of against the chicken wire, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, wow, wow. I'm popping him in his head, and my mom said, I'm cussing the raccoon out as I'm hitting him. I'm like, get the off my dog. Get. I totally believe her, but I don't remember that part. I must have blacked out. I don't remember that part. I hit him like 7 times, hard. Nothing happens. He does not let up. In fact, he started fighting Andy even harder. And I remember hearing Andy let out this kind of muffled yelp, like something had happened, like maybe he had cut him low or something. But Andy was a really tough dog. He was not a screamer. And when he screamed, and that combined with the blood and thinking of the fillet, the wild woman in me, and I think we all have one in us, she said, oh, you need me. And was like, she probably didn't say it like that. She probably was like, oh, you need me. And something came over me, and I flipped that hammer over to the claw part, and I cracked the raccoon right in his skull through the chicken wire. And it sunk all the way into his head. And I felt it through my whole being. I think in that moment I realized he's gonna die. I'm gonna kill him. And as an animal lover, it was kind of, I can't believe this is still really upsetting for me because it was so long ago, but I think the taking of any life is a horrible thing to have to do. No matter what the circumstances are. And I still have a lot of guilt. And I still feel horrible that little raccoon didn't make it home because of me. He wasn't little, but you know what I'm saying. And I'm grateful that I value life this much. Because I do. And when I sunk that claw into his head, I could almost feel the life go out of him. He kind of stopped, and his paws fell away from Andy's face, and he just started to lean back, and I could tell he was dying. I felt so horrible. But I don't know, even now looking back with more clarity, like I don't think there was anything else I could have done because of the way they were trapped and how much he was hurting him. And it's that survival mode that just kicks in, you know, fight or flight, but in this case, fight. And I'm grateful that I was able to step up and save my baby and keep him from getting even more hurt. But it was vicious. It was the most brutal, vicious, like savage thing I've ever experienced and that I've ever done. And it's stayed with me. It's still with me, obviously. I'm gonna get it together. Hold up. Oh, okay. Okay. So the next thing I had to do was get Andy out of the chicken wire hammock. And in the moment, I was concerned that the raccoon may not be like dead. So as you're about to see in my footage from that day, I tied this rope around the raccoon's neck because I didn't want him to jump up at me when I went back there to grab Andy. So that's what the rope is. I need you to understand. That was self-protection because, you know, like in the movies when they think something's dead and then they get close and it's like, ah! I didn't want him to do that to me. So I got him out, I cleaned him up, called animal control, and then I documented the scene. Let me give you another warning right here. I feel like I might be a little overkill with the warnings because this is nothing compared to all the gruesomeness I see in all these other channels. You're gonna see it and be like, she's tripping, that's not even that bad. The raccoon dead body footage is really graphic. I mean, it is to me. We're a little desensitized these days, in my opinion, but I still wanna warn you, and I still think you should get your kids to leave the room if they're in there with you, if you even have kids around. I have no idea what your life is like. So anyway, if you're ready, let's go. This is the stepped up plant area I was talking about where it happened. This is the chicken wire hammock, and you can kind of see the size of the raccoon there. See his head's up front and then his tail kind of hangs out of the back. That wire was up higher, but I pulled it down when I got Andy out. And this is the hammer claw wound and the rope I mentioned. Oh, poor guy. Obviously, I took Andy to the vet. He needed stitches in his face, a few on his body. He got a rabies shot, of course, and I even got Java one just to be safe. I will say this, it didn't make me feel much better, but when animal control came to get the raccoon's body, they said they hadn't seen one this big in a really long time. The person was holding the raccoon by the neck, like the scruff of the neck, out away from them, and the tail was almost dragging on the ground. That's how long it was, that's how big it was. So, yeah, that's how it happened. And even like, you could see years later, it is still really upsetting to me. So, you know, tell me what you think, but be gentle in those comments because you never know the real story behind something. I had to save my baby, and you would have done the same thing. I'm sorry, little raccoon. Now you know the whole story. Think what you want. If you've ever had a situation where you had to step up, step in, and make something brutal happen like that, tell me about it in the comments. I would love to know that I'm not alone in this. Also, if you have any idea of how else I could have handled the situation given these very specific set of circumstances, I would love to know because information is power. Thank you for your time. Thanks for coming to hang out with me, and I'll see you on the next one. Oh, there's the fig video. Click that if you want to see that one if you missed it. All right, y'all. Bye.